Good morning, boys and girls. Today we're going to be doing our Module 8 review. So this is in your Module 1 through 9 book, page 213. This will be turned in for a grade, so make sure you put your name on it, Shug. Alright, so let's start looking at these questions. The first one says, of the 10 dancers at the International Dance Competition, 3/5 are from Asia. How many dancers are from Asia? Tell the strategy or tool you'll use, explain, and find your answer. Okay? So, of the 10. So, there are so many ways you could do this. Okay? But I know there's 10. And I know 3/5 of them. We know that we're finding a part of them. A fraction is a division problem. So I've got 10 dancers, and I know that they're being put into 5 groups because that's what a fraction is. So I'm going to put my 10, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm putting them in 5 groups. 1 group, 2, 3, 4, 5. Make sure you put your name on it. 3 of the fifths. So there's 1/5, 2/5, 3/5. 3/5 of them are from Asia. So I know that 2, 4, 6 are from Asia. Because I took my 10. My fraction told me I was putting them in 5 groups, 3, 4, 5, and I have 3 of those groups. If this had been 1/5 of them, then that would just be 2 are from Asia. All right, so I want you to think about that while we're doing number 2. At the beach, May fills 6 buckets with sand. She uses 2/3 of the sand in the buckets to make a sand castle. How many buckets of sand does she use to build the sandcastle? All right, so she's got 6, and our fraction is 2/3. So we know it's being put into 3 equal groups. She's using 2/3 of that. So I want you to show some work. You can do it like we did up here, or whatever strategy you prefer, to figure out how many buckets. Now, one thing I'm keeping in mind, 2/3 is almost a whole, so she's using a lot of her sand. So if you got 1 bucket, we know that that couldn't be the correct answer. Okay, number 3. How could you use a visual model to show 3/10 times 5? So we're finding 3/10 of our 5. Well, there are lots of different ways. We could start with our 5 circles that we've got, or we can draw circles to represent our 5, and if we divide them in 2 parts, now I've got them into tenths, or 10 parts. And then I'm going to shade 3 of those parts. 1, 2, 3, which is going to be 1 and 1/2. 3/10 of 5. All right. And you can always check this by doing that math too. That would be 15/10. 3 times 5 is 15. 10 times 1 is 10. 10 goes into 15, 1, and 5/10, which is the same value as 1.5. But if we're going to do a visual model, we need to have it like this, but we can always check to make sure we did it right by doing that math. Okay? So I want you to do number 4. Mr. Diaz is 50 years old. Miss Slow is 4/5 as old as Mr. Diaz. So she's a fraction of the amount of him. So we know that she's going to be less than 50. because we have a fraction, a part of that age of 50. Oh, and I just answered the question. Who is younger, Mr. Diaz or Miss Lowe? Okay, well, you just heard me talk about that, but explain it. How do we know that she's going to be younger? Explain that right there, and maybe prove how old she is too. It doesn't tell you to do that, but we'll say, how old is Miss Lowe, since I already told you the answer. Okay, number 5, overnight, a half a foot of snow fell. By noon, a fourth of the fallen snow had melted. How much snow had melted? Use the number line to find the answer. Okay, well, it's up to you how you do it. If you want to use the number line, that's perfectly fine. Or if you have another strategy that works better for you, I want you to use whatever strategy works well. So we've got our number line, and we're showing 0 to 1. I know a half is here. By noon, a fourth of that snow had melted. So we know a fourth is smaller than a half. So let's use this to figure out how much snow melted. A fourth of this half had melted. Okay? Let's turn it over. Number 6. Draw an area model to find the area of a tile that measures 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch. Alright, my video messed up a little bit. So, we had just read this. So when it says 1/4 by 1/4, I know that that means 1/4 times 1/4, because we know area is length times width. A fourth times a fourth. We know what our answer is. We can probably figure this out really easily, but it says draw a model. And you are going to need to know how a model looks for this. So I did part of it with you. If this tells you this is an inch and yours is a fourth of an inch, then we need to split that into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. This side, 1, 2, 3, 4. I haven't shaded it in, so I want you to represent a fourth by a fourth and tell me what that answer would be. And you can also work it out here to help you check. Alright, number 7. A speckled padlock or turtle weighs 5/16 pounds. A pygmy mouse lemur weighs 2/5 of this. So this mouse weighs 2/5 of the 5/16. So it's a fraction of that. What is the weight of that pygmy mouse lemur? So remember, we know our answer has to be smaller than this one because it's a fraction of that. So if you see any that are bigger, then you can automatically eliminate those because they don't make sense. We're finding 2/5 of the 5/16. So I want you to do this one on your own. Eliminate ones that don't make sense. I see one right off that doesn't make sense. Okay, number 8. Jamal is building a playhouse for cats. The first level measures 3/4 yard by 1/2 yard. So just draw it here. 3/4 by 1/2. The second is 2/3 by 3/8. Jamal wants to put carpet on both. How many square yards of carpet does he need? So remember, carpet is that flat. You know, if you put carpet in a house, you're just having to worry about the floor, the length and the width. So we've got the length and the width for the first floor and the second floor. So not only are you having to figure out what that area is, but you've got the area here and here. So I also want you to work that one out, show that work on how you get it. All right, now number 9. It says select all the expressions that have a value less than 9,721. Boys and girls, we don't need to work these out. So don't get upset when you look here and say 9,000 times 3/4. Think about what we've learned about fractions. Think about what the answer would have to be. I'm going to do the first 2 with you. you're going to look at C, D, E, and F, okay? It has to be less than 9,000. All right, so I'm going to look at A. If I'm multiplying 9,721 by 3/4, I'm finding 3/4 of that. That means I took this, I divided it in 3 parts, and I get 4. So I know that that's going to be less because I'm finding a fraction of that amount. This is an amount less than 1. So I know that my answer is going to be less than this. When I look at B, this is 4/3. I know that 4/3 is the same as 1 1/3 because 3/3 is a whole and I have 1 more left. So here, I know that 9,000 times 1 is going to give you the same thing. So this is going to be more because this is larger than 1. It's not a lot larger, but it is larger. So I am going to have a number larger than this. So that one is not it. Use that same type thinking to help you figure out C, D, E, and F. All right? And that's all you have to do. So make sure your name is on it. You show your work. You answer every question. And you turn it in because this is a grade.